Good afternoon, everyone. We're on the rock, Bishop.
And not sinking sand.
And that rock is?
Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah. 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 We're so excited. It's so nice outside. And
Yes,
I tell you,
beautiful.
it's been a wonderful day. We had a wonderful time at the Ministerial Alliance of Champaign-Urbana and vicinity. We had guests, and we were talking about many things. One of the wonderful things we talked about was Project 500, which they're going to be doing that 50th year, and we're going to be involved as much as we can with that, Bishop.
Yeah.
But the sad thing was we had a homegoing of our dear brother Edwin Sykes, and you know he was worshipful masters. He was our neighbor for many years.
Of the Pensacola Masonic Lodge.
Yes, Lord, and we were so excited when people come to town, you know, and they knew him with our general conference when you were the bishop, and we were excited to tell him that he was our neighbor, and he was very well known everywhere. But he's gone on home to be with the Lord, and we're lifting his family up.
According to the history, he was airman at Chinook.
Oh, yes, he was in the Air Force too. Yes. So, anyway, get your Bibles. We're going to the Word of God. Oh, I'm Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood for our new people who are watching us. And this is Dr. Bishop King James Underwood. And we're going to introduce our wonderful guest in a few minutes. We're going to the 16th chapter of St. Matthew's, beginning at verse 13. And we're coming from the King James Version of the Bible. When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." He said unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Thus read the word of God.
Amen.
God's word is blessed.
Amen.
And we need to adhere to it. And at this time, we're going to ask our psalmist, the bishop, to give us a song of his choice. The first one, will you do the Our Father's Prayer and give us another one that God has laid upon your heart, please?
Okay. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Oh, for thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. The old rugged cross. I know I'm about to wear it out, but I just love the old rugged cross.
Nothing wrong with that.
On the hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross, tell my troth that at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross, unexchanged someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross, so despised here by the world, has its wondrous attraction for me. For the dear, dear Lamb of God left His glory above, for to bear it to dark Calvary. So I cherish the old rugged cross, tell my troth that at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross, unexchanged someday for a crown. The old rugged cross.
Oh, yes.
Amen,
Oh, yes.
amen.
Yes, yes.
It's
Bishop,
beautiful.
the gentleman right here, you
Yeah.
want to introduce the song?
I think he would be more eloquent, but I think I knew him longer.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. I'm going to introduce the psalm and just what? Present to others.
Yes,
This gentleman was born and raised here in Champaign-Urbana.
I can attest to that.
I think Bishop knew his mom and dad.
I did.
Praise God. And Bishop will tell more about it, but we want him to tell his story. And
Yeah.
he has a book.
It's his story.
Yes,
That's my story,
his
huh?
story. Told by him. It's short, but this is just the beginning. Because he's a young man.
I'm a young man. That's my last name. Last name, Young.
Yes, Lord. Praise God. So we're going to introduce the psalm and present to others none other than Dr. I'm going to say, I said Dr. Deacon.
Dr.
Praise God, because he
Deacon.
was a deacon
That's right, first.
for many years.
That's right,
He's
right.
probably
Still
the
is
only
deacon.
Dr. Deacon that I know in Champaign-Urbana. Dr. Deacon Charles, quote, Tony, unquote, Young.
Alrighty.
Praise
Okay.
God.
Thank you.
The husband of my friend Alyssa.
Right.
Young.
Absolutely.
Praise God.
Absolutely.
He can tell the rest.
Hey.
Hear ye him. And he can talk about whatever whatever he want to talk about. It's
Okay.
up to him.
That's fine. Thanks a lot, Bishop and Doctor, Minister, Evangelist Evelyn Underwood for inviting me on this TV show. Another name I go by, which is a bunch of D's, which is Dad. So we got Dad, Deacon, and Doctor.
Oh, praise
Yeah,
God.
DD. DDD. Not EDD, but DDD. Yes. So I'm glad that you guys invited me here as I continue to promote my book, among other community things that I'm doing in the community. I wasn't going to write this book, actually, at first. I was not going to write it. It was one of my teachers at the University of Illinois told me, Charles, you need to tell your story.
Yes, Chief.
Because I felt that maybe I was naive, but I felt that a lot of people in the community already knew me, especially the home people. So, but I went on and wrote it, and I think I started maybe about 5 years ago, and I did in pieces because I was in school still. So I wrote the book and took my teacher advice. She said, you never underestimate or take people for granted. They might not, you may be from Champaign-Urbana, but still they might not know your detail step by step. So this is maybe just one step. It's a short book. So I have a lot of other books and articles and publications inside of me that eventually will be coming out. I saw those things first before I actually saw writing about myself. But when my teacher motivated and said, no, tell your story. So I decided to do it, so I did. So,
But you know what? My son, Elder Herbert Burnett, they call him Coach Hub.
Yes.
He said that the most, well, how did he say that? Expensive.
No, most richest place in the world is the graveyard.
It's the graveyard. Yes, I
Because
heard that before.
many stories that needed to be told hasn't been told. Many books that should have been written haven't been written, and many things that that they have the ability to do they didn't do, and so they take it to the grave. So the graveyard
Absolutely.
is a rich place, has a rich legacy, because all those things that had not been performed was taken to the grave with the people that had them.
So
Right.
listen out there. But you have already started.
Right, right. So
All those articles that you got to do, but you
that's
started
true.
right now.
Yes, that's true.
One book.
Well, one thing about me, as I celebrate God in my life, which is a personal thing, yeah, it's part of it is also public, and we forsake not to assemble ourselves and come together. But at the end of the day, it's personal. So if you really understand it and know God, you will know to celebrate your life to the fullest. So you will not take your gifts and talents that God have you to the grave.
Yes, sir.
So I do believe in living this human temple, this life to the fullest. Like I said, I was going to write. I got many books inside of me.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to be this one. Because I thought, because now maybe if I would have moved out of town, it probably would have been a different story in regards to writing and talking about myself. But I just took for granted that everybody here, for the most part, knew me.
Yes.
But my teacher said, no, just still tell that. And then actually, I have several copies that I have sold to Parkland College. They use it for their remedial classes. And then there's some education programs around Champaign-Urbana that's in a classroom setting. They also use in this book. So I'm quite humble and honored to see that someone taking my story, my life, just a little small bits of it. It's not long. To see how they can use it in their lives, to educate them, to uplift them, to motivate them in a positive way. So we are the light of the world, so we have to be that light.
So look at
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Just think, because she wrote this book, it's not only for the people that know you now. What about your grandchildren?
That's true.
Grandchildren.
So you sound like my teacher.
Be born after you're gone off the scene, they can read your book and know about Uncle Tony, great-grandpa Tony.
Papa.
So if you had not wrote this book, then how would they know all these things? Because it's not written anywhere, and they wouldn't have anywhere to know about you.
Right.
So you put it in a book, and now people know who you are. Even those that never met you can read your story.
That is powerful. So you got oral history, which is the tradition of a lot of natives, a lot of American Indians, and not only a lot of African American. They use that language of oral history by passing on story. But there's nothing like written history when you record it. When you record it and put it down.
When it's recorded, it remains. But with oral history, somebody get lazy on the job and
right.
Then there's a gap, and it's missed history.
Yeah.
But if it's written, you can always go back and pick it up from day one to the place where you are.
That's true. That's true. So
I think the importance of it, and I mean, you're not going to tell the whole story because people don't want to buy the book, But some, why they're able to use it, because they can look at you and they say, you got a PhD, you never went through anything, But then you can read some, the few little things here, maybe you might want to talk about, and let you know you haven't always been Dr. Tony or Dr. Charles.
Right. I know.
There were some things in your history that maybe, just like the teacher told me, that, you're not college material.
Yeah, I heard that before. I heard that story several times. I wasn't elementary material, middle school, high school material, leaving up to the teachers in the establishment. But one thing about as we go through this journey in life, regardless if it's through religion or through job experiences or through education, as I always tell people, there's always that one person. I believe God always send a ram in the bush. Yeah. And even in your environment, there's someone always there to motivate you and tell you, hey, I didn't always have bad teachers, even though for the most part, because it was a system set up that way, K through 12.
Yes.
And there was quite a few people that pretty much said, try to categorize you and neutralize you into certain spaces that say exactly where you're going to be or where you're going to become. So for the most part, teachers did not see me being a doctor or educator or expert in this area. But for the most part, there were one or two that did see that light inside of me. So it's always, you always have that. You always have that, regardless of what category in life that you go through in life. You always have that one, God gonna send someone to speak to you in that space.
A ram in the bush.
Yes.
And so it's important that you take, how do you say it, Bishop? You take the positive, but you can't, you got to take whatever positive you hear and go with that. And also the overwhelming part can be negative.
Right.
You've got to
get rid of
focus
that. Right. Don't
on
focus
the
on
positive,
that.
otherwise you won't be able to make it.
Right.
Yes, but the most important thing is that it's not what people say about you or say to you determines what's on the inside of you. Until you express what's on the inside, nobody knows what's on the inside of you.
Right.
So they can't tell you what your destiny is, and but what's driving you from the inside causes you to reach your destiny. So
that's true.
You are already built with a design special, and nobody else can tell your story like you can.
But sometime in life, it depends on what age. Like I said, going back to kindergarten to 12th grade, at a certain age, sometimes you might not know that. Yeah. So I tried to highlight that in the book in regards of not to take it away from my mom, but she only knew what she knew. So she only had, I believe, like a 6th grade or 8th grade education along with my dad. So they didn't really see at that time in history, they did not see the value of education. And you can easily get, she wasn't promoting it, but at the same time, she felt that I guess it wasn't no need. Only thing we was told about the Bible, going to church, God, Jesus, and that was it. So I also highlighted in the book, as she said, did Jesus go to school? Did he go to college? Does the Bible literally talk about education in there? And at that time, me not knowing, I was very young, I didn't know. So we and my sibling didn't have too much of an argument or defense.
Yes, but
and you see what I'm saying? So only thing we knew about was God and his Jesus and his miracles and healing people and witnessing and converting people into the faith. And for the most part, yes. So,
even though your mom was saying it wasn't necessary, but she made all provisions for you to do what was in your heart. So in essence, she's saying some of the things is up to you. I use the best I can, and here I am. I'm going to set the tools out before you. What tools and what thing in life you want to choose? I got the tools, so I'm going to give you the working tools, and then you choose what you want to do. Whether you want to go higher or you want to stay there.
Yeah.
And she was saying, wherever place you are, I still love you.
Yes, true.
And that's what she was saying, but she wanted the best for you, wanted you to be the best.
That's true.
But she was letting you know, if you don't make it up there,
There's other ways
I
that
still
left
love
you.
you.
Yes.
And one thing with their family, there was a mom and dad in the home.
Mm-hmm. True.
And the other thing about their family, Bishop, which you've told me, is that he said he knew you guys before I did, that they were entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a lot of families
Yes.
didn't have that.
A fish market. My mom had a
Right,
fish
because
market.
what they didn't have, they improvised, and if they didn't have money, they needed money. They had the skills to create wealth. So God gives people knowledge to create wealth. So in essence, they use the ability that God had stored in them to use to create wealth, and by creating wealth, they didn't have the life that you had. So they were saying that I want my children to have a better life than I had, because then you and your generation come on and say, I want my children to have a better life.
That's
so
true.
It's a plus, and it keeps increasing. And people go farther because of what was placed in the inside of them, and the love. Most of all, the love is what caused you to excel, because when you know you love, all these other things you can get past them, because love conquers all.
That's true. Love is my religion. That's true. Love is it.
Dr. Charles might not even realize himself, because it was such a part of them, because they were entrepreneurs. A lot of people didn't have that.
Right.
Did you realize that?
Well, I was quite young. My older sibling, they all remember. I'm next to the youngest, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you can remember this, that you never had a hungry day.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You can tell today I haven't had one. But anyhow, I think what it was, as you guys continue to educate me, and I listen to the Spirit as it speaks now. My mom, they was like, well, my mom was like another avenue of education, which was she was promoting informal education, which is the gift of God that all human being has inside and have inside of them. It might not be necessarily the formal education. It was probably more of the informal education, but educating yourself through the gift of God, through seeking the gift of God. I think that's pretty much what she was advocating and supporting. But she told me also, I put in the book, that my middle name's Tony, and she'd say, Tony, you was born with a veil on your face. I was real close to my mom, and she would say things like, and I still today, I have vision dreams. I talk about that in the book. And those invisible dreams, thoughts, compel me to make it reality. You know, I constantly have those. So I see, like I said, I didn't particularly see this book, but I saw other books that I wanted to bring to light. So I see things even today sort of like in advance. And that's the part my mom told me. I guess I got that from her, she said. I don't know.
And one thing you can say your parents did for you, they instilled in you survival skills.
Yes, right, true.
And
that's true.
how you was that's how you were able to overcome when they said you're not this material. You said within yourself, I don't see that. I'm gonna try. And you tried and you overcome. You said, well, I'm not that. I'm this. Because she taught you survival skills.
That's
survival
true.
skills teach you how to deal with situation, how to get the best out of the situation.
That's true. So that educating you within yourself right there, survival skill, life skills, those are a form of education that naturally we all have in us, regardless if you go to an institution or not. You learn by evolving as human beings. We learn through life experiences just by observing, seeking, and talking to one another. And sometimes we have to be careful with institutions. I'm not knocking education institution, but they do socially construct you to think a certain way as opposed to really being who you are. You know, so if you stay true to your principle and your spiritual walk with God, then sometimes people look at you different, and it's going to be controversy because you being anchored true to your true identity inside of yourself, because you're not being influenced or socially constructed by the system to speak or to talk or to act a certain way according to the norm or our society.
Are you saying the system is saying it's think tank?
Yeah, the system, we don't.
Act like me, you're not a part of the system, so we push you away.
Right, and we have to be careful with that. So you got to find yourself fasting or meditating or consecrating yourself through isolation. Well, at least that will work for me, to stay anchored and true to the spirit that speaks inside of you, as opposed to sometimes we can get busy in our life with a lot of stuff going on in our society and end up swaying. So I talk about the four shared I's, the letter I, the four shared I's, which is ideology, interpretation, interest, and influence.
Yeah.
Those four shared I's will get you. Ideology is a belief. Interest, if people have interest in it or they don't have an interest in it. What was the other one I said? Influence. People will influence you. And then the other I forget what it was. Interpretation.
Well, when you talk about influence, it can be positive or negative.
Yeah. So, but I'm quite happy with my work with this book. And like I said, I did a book talk, which was quite successful. And this book is still going strong.
Yes.
So, and that is, once I start writing it, that was the intention, to try to share with other people that we have more similarities with one another than we do differences.
Okay. So the four eyes, yes. And you talked about that in And so the autobiography of my life, liberating me, quote, unquote, into my true calling, and yours too. I like that.
Yes.
So what do you mean by "and yours too"?
Once again, I believe that we have more similarities than we do differences with one another. There's a purpose, there's a meaning in all of us. So if I'm able to talk to whatever that it is inside of you to motivate you, you do what that it is. You know, you bring that to light. And we all have a it. And whatever that may be, just like you said, your son Hub, a lot of people go to the grave and there's a lot of talent that's wasted there at the grave. They never discover what that it was. So we always searching for something, we looking for something as we continue the journey in life. But you would know if you reach that it mark. My it is, try saying that 3 times. My it is, I'm a historian, I'm a spiritual person, definitely a spiritual person. I am an educator. I like to educate people in both genre. What I mean by genre with that is the informal and the formal. I think both components is important. And also, I like politics, believe it or not. I really do like politics because I like to change things. And I like to change things. I'm always questioning things from creation. Why is it set up this way? Why is it like this? Those why questions. So, and I like to write. My writing is not all that good, but I'm getting there. You just keep practice and you keep doing things over and over, you will get good at it.
You have to practice.
Yes, you got to practice with everything.
Practice in writing.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Writing is practice.
That's true.
And you know, some people can do it on the computer.
Yes.
Some can do it longhand. But it takes practice.
Right.
You know, and that's what, you know, I'm in a writer's workshop.
Yes, yes.
Writer's cafe. But,
Yes.
you know, you have
I've been to several of them.
perfect, but you got to practice.
That's
and,
right.
And,
That's
and
true.
That's what, I'm impatient. So that's one of the things that... So what was your dissertation, the name of your dissertation?
So my dissertation was A Contemporary Civil Rights Issues, the Thoughts of African American Christian Religious Leaders and University Professors Seeking Public Office. It was a life history methodology. So you took part of that. Yes. I interviewed you as one of my human subjects along with a lot of P's, the P word, which was a lot of preachers, pastors, and professors. I interviewed 9 human subjects, and some were African Americans, some were white Americans, and wanted to see the direction because they both influence people. There's a lot of trust with both groups of people, so they are looked upon as leaders in our community. But to change things in our community, that's where I wanted to see where we would go with that.
We're going to have to come back.
Yes, this was good.
Come back and do that the next time. So
Okay.
we'll see you.
Thank you.
I'm not saying you got time to do it next week, but one time
okay.
we're going to come back. We're going to
Yes.
talk about your dissertation.
Okay.
See you next week.
See you next
God
week.
bless you. And we love you.
One
Have
love.
a great week in the Lord.
Thank you for coming.
Yep. Thank you. One love.
Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.